Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on Management Muse. I'm your host, Cindy Baldy, and this is Jeffrey Tumlin, who is sporting his Suntory
I got
coffee,
my
the boss
Suntory
of
shirt.
them all shirt.
Suntory is the boss of them all. When we were in Japan, they had these on the vending machines, and we love them. So just so you know,
It
Suntory
just seems
is
relevant
the
to
boss
Management
of them
Muse.
all since 1992.
Yeah, so here's the interesting part of that is that about maybe 15 years ago, there was a study in the management literature on narcissism.
Ah.
And which is a little different than like the psychological disorder of narcissism. It looks at it more as like a spectrum. So like everybody has a degree of narcissism, but it's a personality trait.
And is this
Like a
hold up
disorder.
in the science? Because
Well, yeah,
everybody...
it's Hambrick, man.
All right, it's Hambrick.
So the theory was that the people who rose to the top in Fortune 500 tended to have higher narcissistic traits than not.
Yes.
And then, like the normal person. And yes, that's what they found. And some of the ways that they measured it were the percentage of landscape that the picture of the CEO took over in the publications that the organization was putting out.
That's good.
And so based on that one particular measure,
got his face on the vending machine
all over the place.
So good.
And he's the only one there. Like, it was at their solo, and it takes it's not like a small little picture. It's a gigantic picture. And so
we need to just heads up, nerds. There's 3 different types of narcissists. The one is what you throw around when you're mad at somebody, and it's total bullcrap and not based in any science. Mm-hmm. The second one is what Hambrick and presumably some of his colleagues
It's a personality trait.
Yeah, and so it's a continuum, like introversion, extroversion. You can be way extroverted, way introverted, or a little extroverted, a little. So
and there are
same
multiple
thing.
dimensions in like so. There are similar, like when you think of a narcissist from like the pathological kind, like you can see where the measures come from with like the personality. So like, like one of the things is the degree to which they aggrandize themselves, which that's why the measure of the picture.
Yeah, and and you're not fatal if you have a little bit of it. I wouldn't be surprised if...
No, I mean, like obviously some of the traits can be, they have their downside.
Yeah.
But, like think about becoming the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You do have to have a degree of self-aggrandizement.
Yeah. And then there's the third kind, which is the psychology kind.
That's a pathology.
Yes.
For psychology.
That's something is wrong with you. And so this is the most popular word that people are saying now, and it's completely wrong. You're using it to describe somebody who they want something and you want something else, and you can't reconcile it. And so you just call them a narcissist by way of copping out of doing the hard work of trying to find a compromise or a solution or a truce. And so cut that out. This episode is designed to tell you what a narcissist actually is so that you will stop using that word and be more likely when you want to use it to instead remind yourself, I should try to work this problem out.
We get this a lot.
It's complete garbage. There are almost no narcissists at work. It's a cop-out because you should be trying to solve this problem instead of using a word and then saying, I can't work with them. They're a narcissist. Fix the problem instead. Okay, Deller.
So Hambrick, what he did is he really focused in on the functional aspects of narcissism. So it's like a boldness, but functional. So the key results were like it's associated with bolder, more extreme, and more volatile organizational behavior. So, they have a lot of failures as well as successes. It's just that like the people who tend to rise into CEO positions wind up, just luck of the draw.
Taking a few more gambles.
Yeah. They have a lot more gambles, but the ones that they had tend to have paid off, which is why they wind up rising in the organization. But it's still like the same boldness. So you could have narcissists who had just like flamed out
Yeah.
But it's
they're
the
just
same.
not counted in the data set.
They're not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really functioning. I mean, it's really focusing on it being a fairly functional, although volatile personality trait.
Yeah. So pay attention, nerds. What Cindy's saying is in management, you may actually want a little bit of this because when the management scientists talk about narcissism, what they're saying is these people tend to be a little bolder.
Well, and I just had this conversation the other day in a group I was working with. And, when you're at that level in an organization, even in small organizations, but especially like big organizations with huge research and, huge resources in research, like you are going where no man has gone before.
Or woman.
Or woman. I know. I was quoting Star Trek.
Oh, boldly going.
Boldly going.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of belief in yourself and the ability to do that, to some degree, like a little bit of narcissism is probably helpful.
Yeah. What's the opposite of being a narcissist? Being a weenie?
No.
It's kind of a weenie.
No.
What would be the opposite?
It's probably a recluse. Somebody who doesn't
hermit.
want visibility.
Bob, it's my friend Bob.
Wants to do everything themselves, which means that you're living a small life. If you're doing
Bob,
everything
I don't think
yourself.
he's listening. He's my...
The psychological opposite of a narcissist is an echoist.
An echoist,
And
that's
so
what they call it?
What do they describe an echoist as?
A person who fears being a burden, avoids the spotlight, and often prioritizes others' needs above their own.
An echoist.
An echoist.
See, doesn't that sound terrible?
That does sound terrible. An echoist, that's a terrible label.
See, I'm back to my point of the Hambrick version, not the pathological version, but the Hambrick version. Like, what if we were a little more...
So the only rub is you have to, yes, believe that you can do things that other people can't believe, but you still have to be open enough to take in information and adapt to the new information as it comes in instead of just having a belief and blindly moving forward. And so
sure, I agree with
that's where, that's where it's kind of a weird dance between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, how do I, and that's your long-term homework, I would say, is how do I have
the belief
in my convictions without failing to absorb other people's input
and information, data,
yeah,
as it comes in, and then being willing to be like, "Yep, got it. Time to change tracks.
I was wrong. I have to do something different." Yeah, and I think that's lifetime homework for people. I mean, I don't have an easy answer to that.
Especially after you commit resources to it, it gets harder and harder to do.
Yeah, sunk cost and everything.
And especially with the visibility that you're doing it, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
That's all sunk cost.
Yeah, sure.
But people are good. I had an experience this week where I was debriefing a survey and somebody in the room is like, "Hey, this one item, I wasn't sure if you were talking about employees or patients." And I went over and I looked at it and it says people. And I'm like, "Yep, you're right." And I turned around and I pulled out my version of the survey and I said, "I got to write that down. I need to change it going forward." And the whole room gasped, but in a good way. And one person said, "I love that you just did that." And I'm like, I refine this thing all the time because like the human brain is amazing. And so I can only see it through my human brain and it's in context as I'm writing it. And so I have an idea that I think you're going to get what I mean, but then somebody else is overreading it or sees it differently. And then I'm like, well, yeah, I need to I didn't see it that way. And I can see how you see it that way.
Yeah. The people we know at the height of their powers are still taking notes. It was
the best thing that we learned being PhDs. Getting PhDs.
Yeah, is even the professors are basically learning as they're doing, and they're writing stuff down. And we're lucky that when we're in companies, in most of our main interactions, the CEO is there, and I would say virtually all the CEOs we work with take notes. Mm-hmm. And it's not because we're geniuses, but because they're constantly to run a company of almost any size. I would use the word, it's almost bewildering. And so you have to just take in a lot of information, try to be able to sort that, and then do the very hard thing that you just mentioned, which is there's sometimes when you are the leader. And so you need to make the call and tell people, no, we're not doing that. But there were many times when you're about to make a call and somebody tells you we shouldn't do that, and they're actually right. And knowing,
being open to
having that
contemplate
at
whether or
least,
not
yeah,
they're right or not
Yeah.
is something that we have to preserve.
yeah, and that's the problem of this pathological or the psychological definition of narcissism.
The frailty and the shame won't let you do that.
Yeah. To be clear, that one's a gigantic problem. And if you're dealing with somebody like that, you have a gigantic problem. But virtually no one who comes to us and says they're dealing with a narcissist is.